All right, I am here with co-founder and CEO of the European League of Football, Željko Karajica. Željko, I'm really excited that we can sit down and talk, just sitting down casually for a little bit, because all of our interactions have been on stage, so we really haven't gotten to chit-chat that much. And the first thing that I want to ask you, that I'm super curious about, is what inspired you to start the European League of Football? And we're talking back 5 years ago now that we're entering into our 5th season. What was the biggest motivation for you to take on this endeavor?
First of all, I have worked before for 30 years in German TV, and somehow from the very first minute until the 30th year of my career, I always had some kind of combination with sports.
Yeah.
So I love sports overall. So independently, if we're talking about soccer, boxing or American football. So this is the first thing. So you have to have, I think, something that you really like in sports. Otherwise, you can't do such things. And the other thing was, in my last years on Pro7 we made it happen and brought over the NFL to Germany and made it to the second most important TV sports in Germany.
Right.
So when I started at Pro7 we only had one game on TV. This was the Super Bowl. Yeah. And everybody was discussing, you know what, we don't need an American football. It's in the night. You can't earn money because there is no advertising money in the night. And last but not least, the Germans don't understand the rules of American football. So this was 15 years ago, the starting point of American football. So in 8 years, we extended the contract with the NFL sometimes and made it happen. The back-to-back games on Sunday, 8 hours of American football, first of Pro7 Max, then moved to the bigger station, to Sat.1, Pro7.
Right.
And during this time, I realized for me, okay, you know what? Why don't we do American football, professional American football, also in the time between February and September? Because we had a great audience, we had a great target group between September and February. Mm-hmm. We had 2.5 million people watching in the night from 2 to 6 the Super Bowl. And the question was, you know what is happening with this target group after the Super Bowl? Are they dying and then all of a sudden coming up again in September? So, and we said, okay, you know what? The target group is there. American football arrived in Germany, but also in Europe. Right. And let's say this was some kind of our research. And that's why we decided to say, okay, no, the time is right. Let's start an own league. We see there is potential in Europe for such a league. And to be honest, that was, let's say, the tipping point to start the league.
Yeah, this is always a crazy thing when I talk to Americans and I tell them about the European League of Football whenever I'm back home. And they say, oh, do the Germans, do the Europeans, do they like football? Are they interested in it? And they really have no comprehension of actually, there's a huge demand for this sport. The fact that people were watching at those times in the night, I know it's the NFL, but it's the same sport there. So you guys got kind of like a proof of concept that there was a demand and a thirst possibly for more football in Europe.
Yeah. The one thing was that what we showed on TV,
right?
Great ratings, everything. But we did also other things. For example, for the Super Bowl, I rented 2 times the Lanxess Arena here in Cologne.
Yeah.
So we did public viewing, and 7,000 people came to the public viewing just to watch together the Super Bowl. So, and you say, okay, you know what? This is a movement, and this is not only, let's say, a few hundred people that like this. So there is potential. But now, when we started, we said, okay, if we start a league, there must be 2 things for sure, because we wanted to play our games at the same time slot like the NFL played on Sunday, back-to-back 2 games. So we said, if we do that, it must look like American football. Yep. You know, this is because a lot of Americans thought, the Germans, the Austrians, the French guys, can they really play professional football? Does it look like American football? I think we proved yes, we can. And the other thing was also, we played on a slot on the NFL, so we had to prove also technical wise, and let's say, how does it look like, you know, that the people say, okay, yes, this is a technical format as well, line of scrimmage, you know, the statistics and everything. So, and we didn't have time at that when we started say, okay, let's improve year by year, and in year 7 we will be okay. You have to do this in the first season, and let's say this was some kind of the adventure when we started, but I think right now we're on a really good way. The people accept this is great, and last year, you remember the final on Schalke, 42,000 people.
Incredible.
said yes to American football, and said yes and thank you for the spectacle that happened there.
Well, the thing is, and it's with the championship game in particular, it's not just the game that's so impressive to me, it's the environment and everything around it. So I got to go to the Super Bowl in the States, and you know, it's different with the ELF championship, but there's a similar energy and atmosphere when we do the ELF championship game, the two that I have been to.
I had last year on Schalke, I had two moments,
Okay.
Two moments overall. So it was a great event overall, but let me point out two moments. The one thing, when we played the anthem. So, we had this saxophone guy
That was so
playing,
cool.
and 42,000 people singing,
Yes.
and he was playing only the instrumental version. So,
Gives me chills again.
I didn't see such a moment so much in German sports overall, playing the anthem, and that's what you described.
Yes.
I think that's how 42,000 people thought at that moment. And the other thing was, and this is maybe even one step further than what I experienced at the Super Bowl or somewhere else.
Okay.
I think what we really did well is, they call it tailgating, we call it power party,
Yep.
before the game. We had, I think, over 27,000 people, 3 hours before the game, backstage at the stadium, having party, barbecue, everything. So this impressed me even more,
Yeah.
bringing the people together, because it was some kind of a family happening, barbecue event, and not
Exactly.
only we are going to watch a game.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, all the stuff surrounding the power party, and I went through all of that and got to experience all of it, and it just adds so much to the whole event of what we're doing here. It's interesting when you talk about kind of the special nature of football, because you're involved, like you said, in other sports in Europe. You have an extensive career, extensive background in sports. What do you think it is, or is there something about American football in particular that kind of creates this environment or this feeling? Because it really is a family atmosphere. And when I look at soccer, for example, it's very opponents, very against each other. And here with the ELF, even when the teams are against each other, there's sort of this family atmosphere. Do you point your finger to anything special about American football that makes this?
I think this is a development over dozens of years.
Yeah.
What happened in US, so we transported it a little bit to Europe, here in our league as well. But what I really love at this kind of happenings, what you mentioned, having 25,000 people at a power party. So, and there is no separation of, there is this is the Viking fan, and this is the Rheinfire fan. Everybody is together. Big, small, black, white, I don't know, no matter whatever. And they just celebrate together. They want to have fun. And that's why we are saying, we try to some kind of establish an atmosphere of family atmosphere, being together, no violence, just having fun. Mm-hmm. We want the families come with the kids to the party, no ultra hooligans or something.
Right.
At the end, it's not only 2 hours of a game. Last time it was, the people arrived, the first one at 11 and left at 8 the stadium. So it's a full time of entertainment and family business being together. And believe me, this is something that we will hard work on in order to not only establish but also to progress with that and improve this kind of feeling more and more, not only at the final but also at the other games that we're organizing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's such a special thing, and being able to see it a few times now, and hopefully again this year in Stuttgart where we'll have the championship game. So there's that element of it with the ELF, of the in-person being at the game, that's so special. But the other element of success here is sort of the TV deals or the streaming, people watching at home. And the ELF has a huge new deal here with DAZN, which is going to be massive for distribution and getting more eyeballs on the ELF. Can you talk a little bit about that? What happened there and what that means for the league?
When we started the league, we said, we need at least a TV partner who will air the semifinals and the final game, just to have TV coverage. Because before us, there was no American football, to be honest, in free TV and not on big screen. So what we made happen at the very beginning with our TV partner in Germany, so from the very beginning, from the first ball that was thrown, we always had a TV partnership in Germany. and then extended also to other countries. Last year, we had overall 13 TV partners worldwide, not only in Europe, but also we had a smaller streaming platform in US. So we extended the reach of the league. And as the Germans say, tu Gutes und rede drüber, what means do good and talk about it.
Yeah.
You call it more economically maximize the eyeballs.
Yep, there we go.
This is exactly what we have done and what we try to do. And for this season, we secured a really, really big and important deal for us with the Zone. And this deal will bring our distribution to over 200 countries worldwide. So wherever you are able to watch the Zone, and I think it's exact 5 countries
it's all
worldwide, the people will be able to watch also the ELF with the Game Pass. All our games will be there. So we will also have highlights on their platform. We will do the Fast channel on their platform, so the 24/7 European League of Football channel. So this is really important, and believe me, I think even before the start of this season, we will announce 1 or 2 more TV deals overall, because this is something that is really important, because what we saw now from our research, from social media, from merchandising, from sales of the Game Pass.
Yeah.
For example, still Germany is the #1 market, but the second most important market now is US. So
that's awesome.
what we see is the people are recognizing that we are playing American football.
Yep.
It looks like American football, and they honored it. And this is something then you can build more on that.
That is so huge that that's emerging as the second market, because like you talked about earlier, those consumers have such a high standard for the product. It has to look on the field like, okay, this is legit football, and then the TV aspect of it has to look like that. And so the fact that that's emerging as the second market already is crazy.
Yeah, and you know what we're seeing this year, for example, when we announced, for example, Del Rio as head coach in Paris,
Massive.
Everybody said, "Wow."
Yeah.
Super Bowl winner
Yeah.
is coming to Paris. We have Jim Tom Sula, former 49ers coach, coaching in Düsseldorf. So what I'm saying is the people are arriving in our league because they see room in order to grow the sport, and still they're not starting from a 0 level. They're starting from a level we can discuss, is it D1, D2, D3
right,
level.
sure.
So, but I like to discuss about this, because as long as they discuss about this means, okay, we are somewhere there.
Right.
So, and Patrick and me, the main goal is we want to grow it. We want to help also people coming from other countries playing here in Europe, American football, and developing the sports overall. Because if we do so, I'm not afraid to maximize much more eyeballs and to go out of Europe and having a big fan group.
Amazing. There we go. Off to a great start, and we're excited for season 2025, the 5th season of ELF football. Željko Karajica, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Awesome. That was awesome, Željko. Crushed it, man. That was great. You killed it.